Well, Alan Carr, it is great to see you.
Lovely to see you too.
Look at us in our shirts. We could be like soul sisters, couldn't we?
We could, couldn't we? And like, look at this. Do you like the yellow? It's like a bruise.
Yes, kind of like an old bruise, you know. When
Oh, right. Okay. Come on. Try and be nice, Craig, please.
Oh, how could I be anything else? You know, you don't need to be Doris Stokes to know we are going to have a lot of laughs during our chat.
We are. I can feel it in me waters.
Yes, and in my waters as well. And could you imagine if they both broke together?
There'd be a tsunami.
Might I say, before we start, happy birthday for next week, because I know you have a birthday coming up, and happy birthday.
Do you know who I share my birthday with?
Do tell.
Paul O'Grady.
Lily Savage.
Lily Savage. Boy George. There's a fantastic comedian called Tom Allen who's Campers Christmas. It's the gayest star sign in the world. June the 14th is such a gay day. And you know who we share it with, but don't tell anyone?
Do tell.
Donald Trump.
Oh, God.
I know, he didn't get the memo, did he?
He certainly didn't, or either you didn't, because none of you are bright orange.
No, mind you, my hair is fake.
You know, when you think about you, Alan, you are one of the most naturally hilarious people. You know, there are people who are hilarious and funny because it's scripted and it's all worked out. Things just fly from your lips and they're wonderful.
Oh, that's a lot of pressure for a long interview that's coming up. But no, do you know what? We all know these comedians and you're laughing and howling at them on stage, and then you invite them round for dinner and you think, we are going to have the biggest laugh, and they're miserable as sin.
Yes.
They're so miserable. You're like, what? You're on the telly. You're on the stage. Have fun. Smile. Have a laugh. There's so many miserable celebrities out there. It does my head in.
I know, but you see, if somebody were to come to your dinner table, they would find you funny and smiling and having a great time. See, that's what I mean. You are just naturally hilarious and gorgeously warm by nature.
Oh, that's very kind. Thank you. And that's why when I worked at the call center, I was such a hit, because I can really pretend, you know, to give a toss.
Not only the call centre, I heard that you also collected trolleys, I think, for Tesco, and you worked at a CD factory and you worked at a shampoo factory along the way. Is that right?
Yes, I packed the shampoo, I packed dog food. I used to work in a call centre, and because of my voice, they'd always say, oh, thank you, madam, at the end. And you'll be like, no, I'm a man. But yeah, I'm collecting the trolleys. That was depressing. But then sometimes you'd find £1 still in, you know, the thing, and then you'd keep the £1. That'd be like a little tip. I mean, how far I've come. I mean, that was a big deal. If you found a couple of trolleys with £1 still in them, it was like winning the lottery.
Now, you grew up in Northampton, and your dad, of course, was at one time, Graham Carr, a big football player, and he then went on to be the manager of a football club. Yeah. At any point, did he ever think, now, Alan, I'd like you stepping into my footy boots?
Every time, and he still mentions it. When the FA Cup was on, he'd say to me, oh, Alan, it's my dream to see you at Wembley Stadium. And I was like, I went and saw Madonna. What more do you want? But it's funny, you know, because the 2 tours back, I did a one called Spexy Beast, and I did an arena tour. Yeah. And my dad came along to see me, and I think then it's when it dawned on him especially. He went, oh, Alan, it's just you performing here. I said, yeah, Dad, that's what I love doing. And I think he sort of dawned on him that although we're very, very different and everything, that was my kind of football pitch. The stage, do you know what I mean? And I go out there, I get nervous before I go on, just like my dad used to. I've had people boo, I've had people cheer, and we're very similar, Chris. But my dad's my biggest fan now, and you know, he came in the other day and he said, I'm going to watch RuPaul's Drag Race to support Alan. Well, he came in white as a sheet. I don't think he was ready for RuPaul's Drag Race.
But you know what? That must bring you such a joy to know that your father is really proud of all that you've achieved.
Oh, I know, it is nice. And we haven't always seen eye to eye. And I know, like, he used to, you know, I always thought there was a mix-up at the hospital. Do you know what I mean? I thought, there was some hairdresser looking out the window watching his son play Keep It Uppy or something, going, why isn't he interested in perms and hair and the Golden Girls? And like, it's funny how but you know what? He's like my biggest fan now. And I recently did the Royal Variety performance, which was such a magical night to host that and to have him there as well with my mum. And he was crying, and not because my jokes were bad, but because it was emotional. So that was really sweet.
What was it like for you as a kid, though, growing up with all of that kind of football stuff around?
Well, do you know what's really funny why you asked me this? Well, you don't know why you're asking me this, but I've recently written a sitcom. I'm halfway through writing a sitcom, which is having a lot of interest in it. And it's a six episodes, and I've written 3 of them already with this amazing writer who's also gay. And you asking me about this is just, I'm really unpacking a lot of stuff, and it's about me growing up in Northampton as a very camp boy, having a dad who's a football manager, and it is bittersweet. It's bittersweet, really. People ask about your childhood, but it was all right till about 12. When puberty happens, and then overnight I'd gone up a cup size. These were going like this. And then my voice went higher instead of going lower. And then you start fancying people that you shouldn't. And then you turn up to school, and I remember coming in saying to the boys, "Oh, did you watch the Golden Girls last night? Or did you watch Victoria Wood?" And they're like, "You what?" Like that. And then you got to that awful bit a few years later where the girls don't want to hang around you. They want to hang around the boy with the motorbike and the fast cars. They're not interested in what happened in Dynasty or the Colbys. And the boys don't even want to know, do they? So you end up just chatting to a dinner lady or a man walking his dog across the football field. So yeah, it was very weird. It was very strange growing up. Very strange. But then, like I said, the first time I did drama, and we'd all did a play. We did some Shakespearean play, and then they said, "Let's watch your performance back." And honestly, Craig, I could have cried. I've never seen myself before. I was basically voguing. I was like, no wonder people are shouting those things at me. I was like a teapot. I'd stop on stage. And of course, no one ever tells you, do you? Now we live in a world where you've got FaceTime, you've mirrors everywhere. Back then, it was such a shock. I was like, I am so camp.
Alan, really, I feel it, because it was the same for me. The first time I look back, being on television was like, oh my God. Just dig a hole and put me in and throw the dirt over the top.
I was the same. And people think you put it on. And I remember it was actually in Sydney. This woman came up to me. This is before I was even on the telly. She went, "I can't stand affected camp." I said, "Oh, I know."
Speaking of that, somebody once described you, and I mean this affectionately, it was not a pejorative. If Kenneth Williams and Frankie Howard could have a love child, it would be Alan Carr.
I take that as a very big compliment.
Because they were greats, weren't they? They were absolute pioneering greats.
They don't seem to make them like that anymore. When you watch them back on those chat shows, they were just brilliant, weren't they? When I see Frankie Howard walk on stage and Kenneth Williams, I'm laughing already. Name me a comedian that you start laughing at just when you see him.
Oh, amazing. And you look at Kenneth Williams in those wonderful Carry On movies with Matron, and the nostrils flare, and all of that just happens naturally. I mean, these people were so ahead of their time, and frankly, so brave.
Do you know who I supported when they came over here years and years ago? Bob Down, Mark Trevero. He's another one that I just look at and I love. We had a tour 2004, 2005, all going around Scotland and everywhere. We just spent the whole time howling because we've got the same sense of humor.
Yes.
And when I've had a few rosés, I'll often go on YouTube and pop in Bob Down and just laugh my head off, because then all these memories come back of him. I say all that singing and and the hair and the teeth.
He should have had danger money for the amount of polyester he had to wear.
He was so sweet. He came to see my show when I was back in Sydney, and it was so lovely to catch up with him. What a lovely bloke, and so funny.
A lot of people don't know this about you. Funny little bit of trivia, but you, I think, in your 20s, so that was what, in the 90s, you actually lived in Australia for a little while, didn't you? Didn't you arrive here as a backpacker and kind of took it from there?
Yes. I ended up working at HIH Insurance, which down by Darling Harbour. And my job, because I've got no skills or any discernible talent, my job was to take the claim forms off the fax, and it'd have the name, the address, the injury, and where you got it. So there was this farmer, I think, from Queensland, blah, blah, his name and address. What's your injury? It said piles. And it said, where on your body? Where'd you effing think? So there, and then I used to live in Darlinghurst with 2 lesbians and 3 Irish builders in a typical backpackers like this, all like that. And then round the corner, which isn't there anymore, Gay Bingo. What's that pub called? The Albury, Albany or something?
That's right. Yeah, I think Gay Bingo still goes, but it goes in all sorts of pubs. Now it's spread like a choco vine.
But we used to go there on Monday. And I mean, you really didn't want to win the prizes because, I mean, it was like an Ann Summers, you know, it was like things you really didn't want to put in my luggage when I got home. I don't want to see that going round the carousel. Do you know what I mean? They were quite, should we say, risque.
So what was it like for you living in Australia for that little time? Because you did dishwashing for a bit in a restaurant.
I was a dish pig.
Yeah, dish pig. Now we know that you worked for an insurance company with that the pressure on your shoulders must have been amazing, taking the faxes off the machine and onto an in tray.
Oh my God, the paper cuts, Craig, the paper cuts. And sometimes I had to put printer ink in the fax. It wasn't just walking around. And then I always got told off for gossiping with all the women. But yeah, so I was a dish pig at Cafe 191. Yes. And is that nightclub Arc still there?
Yes, it is.
Of course, when that opened, I was there the opening night of that. So all
you
these
show off.
No, I was working, washing up, taking the bins out as I went past all these muscle Marys.
Silly.
They've got crop tops. They've got 6-packs, and I'm coming through because they deliberately gave me these pink marigolds. And so I would like coming through, and I'd bring all the bins past all these muscle Marys, and they were scowling at me because I must have looked like a troll coming out this door. I was like, move out the way, move out the way. And then I became a bit of a character there, and people would just call me Dish Pig, and they'd go, Dish Pig. And then my hands would come out and grab all the dirty things and then just pull them in. I was like a man of mystery. All you saw was the pink marigolds. Do you know what? Can I be honest? I used to hate it when people had the curries because I had to have the scourer on the wok, and it was really, and my hands, honestly.
Oh, they'd have been bright orange, wouldn't they, with all that turmeric and curry powder?
I know. But yeah, do you know what? And I'm making it sound like it was awful, but I just, no responsibility. I had such a laugh, and I'd take me marigolds off and me penny. I'd get changed in the toilets, and then I'd hit the town. It was great. It was so fun.
Of course it was. You actually, seriously, you studied drama and theatre at university. And I think I read somewhere, Alan, that it was with a view to becoming a serious actor, like doing the classics at maybe like the National Theatre or something.
Oh, yeah, I'd love to do that. But then I soon realised I had no range. I've got no range. Right. And then there was a play called Saved that was banned because it was so, and it's quite grim. A man, I don't know how dark your podcast, I don't know how dark you want to go, but
don't worry.
I'll tell you.
Go as dark as you want to.
Okay, well, listen, he has a baby with this woman, and he doesn't want the baby anymore. It's a 60, so he stones the baby to death in the pram. I told you it was dark.
Yeah.
So I'm acting on the stage, and then the woman comes in with the baby. I don't want it. So I push the pram away like that, and then I pick up the stones to throw at the baby. Well, I can't throw. So I was missing the pram and the baby. And then I could see people in the audience sort of like that, and then putting handbags up. And I'm not being funny, but that baby would have lived to be in its 20s or 30s. I mean, there's no way. But I mean, it was the worst bit of casting ever. And my opening line, I had to have sex with a woman on the sofa and then have a fag at the end. And then I got the lowest mark ever. And he said it was like Lily Savage. I was meant to be dark and brooding, but it was awful. It was awful. And then I thought, you know what, Alan, you're just not very good at this.
So is that when you turned your laser-like focus onto comedy?
As a degree, it wasn't the best degree in the world. And you'd pick your different modules, you'd do all different kinds of theatre, stage side, lighting, sound. And then there was this stand-up comedy module. And you did a 10-minute act and you went down to a local comedy bar and your teacher sat there as a punter and you saw how you got on. Well, I'm not blowing smoke up my bum and me and all that, but I ripped the roof off. And everyone said, you should do it. But you know what? I said, I'm not going to do it again because the nerves were too much. I was just so sick. And then I ended up working in a call centre and I get psoriasis really badly. And it was probably at my lowest ebb. And I said, oh, Alan, what am I going to do? How am I going to get out of this job? And someone said, you know, when you did stand up, you're really funny. So I did that and, you know, baby steps. Cut a long story short, I ended up at Edinburgh at the Fringe and Channel 4 saw me and Friday Night Project, then Chatty Man, and then I haven't stopped working since. I loved Lady Gaga.
Yeah.
She always came on the show every time she was in London, even if she didn't have really anything to promote. Really lovely backstage, you know, no divas, you know, nothing really we couldn't talk about. Rihanna was so much fun.
Yeah.
And you know what? Sometimes, you know, they are nice on the show, obviously, to me, because they're plugging things. But I was at the Brits and she walked past and went, oh my God, Chatty Man. And she gave me the biggest hug. And I thought, you know, she didn't need to do that. She was with all her bouncers. And, you know, I know I meet these celebrities, but you still fangirl, you know, you still get excited and everything. I mean, did you see my an audience with Adele or did you see an audience with Alan? That's what people are calling it.
Yes.
Oh, Alan, do you want to come talk for 5 minutes while he fixes my face? Then for real.
I have to say that was a beautiful moment, Alan. And when she was overwhelmed because the old school teacher, you hopping up, doing that song, thank God you knew all the words.
You liar. Now listen, that is the one.
I'm not lying.
I sang every word because everyone goes, oh, it was set up, Alan. It was not set up. You could see that. And then, of course, in the edit, for 5 minutes, I'm going, no, Adele, no, there's Dua Lipa over there. Ask her. She's a proper singer. No. And of course, in the edit, they cut all that out. I'm straight up like a rat up a drain pipe. Oh, yes. And everyone's saying, oh, he's loving this. And then what she said to me was, because I was going, when the wind is on your face. And then she said, Alan, that words are on the auto cue. I looked up, it was Chasing Pavements, though. And I thought, I'm not singing Chasing Pavements. People are going to think I'm starting a medley.
Make Me Feel Your Love, I think, was the song, wasn't it, Alan?
Yes, it was. And it's got that weird one, make when the wind is on your face. And I couldn't work out whether it was wind or rain. I had a trouble with wind.
Oh, well, charcoal tablets are good for that, I hear. You know what? You brought up Adele, and the world absolutely loves your friendship with her. But, I mean, you two met, I think, 14 years ago at the Brit Awards and hit it off like that, didn't you?
Yeah. She lived round the corner from us and we just had the best time, you know, and people say, what's she really like? And I think what you see is what you get. Because, you know, people will say that, what's she really like? That's her cackling away with a glass of wine, having a laugh. That's her. She hasn't changed a bit. And I love her for it.
Well, and not only that, but I mean, as a friend, she sort of went over and above because she not only hosted your wedding in 2018, but she officiated at it.
Yeah, it was so funny because obviously we got to go to the court with the actual paper to get it officiated stuff, you know, and I hand over the woman. She says, okay. She's like, okay, so who married you? Adele Adkins. Oh, you Brits are crazy. You Brits are crazy. I was like, no, it is her. What? She thought we'd got someone to like Adele. So she's like, I love you, Brits. You're so crazy. I was like, no, she didn't do it. So yeah, it's the most wonderful day ever. And listen, I know me and Paul are divorced now and stuff, but you get a lot of head tilting, like, oh, I hear you're divorced. But me and Paul, we're still good friends. Do you know, we gave it 14 years, and in gay years, that's 2,400 years. I mean, people look at me like I'm Shah Gabor or Liz Taylor. I mean, 14 years is a long time, and we fell out of love. Is that okay? Let's move on. Life's too short. And then, and I get Adele at the weekends. He gets Adele in the week.
Well, as long as somebody's having a bit of Adele at some point in time, I think
everyone needs a bit of Adele.
Totally. You know what? Thinking back to your Chatty Man show, which, as I say, ran for 16 seasons, netted you a BAFTA and fans all over the world. You had a lot of Aussies on your couch. I remember from Elle Macpherson to Pete Andre. I think Adam Hills was there. Both of the Minogues, Danny and Kylie. Was there ever an Aussie that you would love to have seen on your Lame couch?
Oh, don't forget Dame Edna Everett.
Oh, of course, but how could I hush my mouth?
I know. Yes, I'm trying to think. Kylie was on. An Aussie. Let me have a think. Well, you know what I used to love? And I don't want to be, I don't know if they're still with us, but I used to love Prisoner Cell Block H. I mean, I used to watch, I don't know if any of them are still around to come on.
They are, Alan. I've got a lot of very dear friends in that show. Maggie Kirkpatrick, who was Joan Ferguson, the freak, is
oh my God.
Friends. Oh my gosh, yes. Val Lehman, who of course was B. Smith, top dog. She's only over the road. Seriously.
No way.
Absolutely every way.
Can I come over and meet them? I'll be like, we know when Rihanna at the Brits, I'll be like, that would be Smith.
You bet.
Me and my mum used to stay up all night and watch that. And then Vinegar Tits, and when Chrissy Latham killed that woman with the trouser press, the drugs in the tennis balls getting thrown over, I was hooked, honestly. And because they used to put it on at like 1 o'clock at night, I mean, I would stay up all night and then I'd be at school like that because I haven't slept watching what's happening in that bloody prison. Oh my God. Can you send her my love? Can you send her my love?
Oh my gosh. You know what? Both Val and Maggie would be absolutely blown away that you are a great fan of theirs. And I know we're talking about your show shortly, but you're coming to Brisbane. They don't live far away. I think we should all have a drink. Don't you think we should be on a promise for that?
I think we should have some grog, as Lizzie would say. Oh, that's, do you know what? That's maybe that show, honestly, that brings back so many memories of me, and I don't know, just staying up night and then I'd put the telly on and I'd put a towel. I mean, you think I'd be watching porn or something. I'd put the towel, I put the towel under the door so my mum wouldn't see the telly on and just watch. Oh, wow. Oh, that's amazing.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Sorry, yes, I am coming to Brisbane and I love Bris Vegas. I love it.
Speaking of your talk show, because it was so cutting edge and you had such a natural way of just engaging people. Of all of the stars you had on, my God, you had everybody from Joan Collins to Jennifer Lopez, you name it. But was there one legend you really would love to have had on your couch?
I love Madonna, big Madonna fan.
Yeah.
And that girly show, Live Down Under 19, I was there on the opening night in Wembley Stadium. So I've got that DVD of her.
Yeah.
But I'd like her, but when she was a bit more fun, because she's a bit miserable now, isn't she?
I know. What's happened, Alan?
Well, she's got that fake bum, and I think it's made her a bit wobbly. Ever since she's had that fake bum, everything's gone wrong. I think it's haunted.
Yeah.
Listen, so when people say, oh, what? I'd love Madonna, big Madonna fan. I even bought Madam X. I even went and saw that Madam X tour where she had the limp.
Yes.
Did I moan about the limp and the fake bum?
And the eye patch.
And the eye patch where she was staggering around. I couldn't see where she was going. I'm a big Madonna fan, but if she could come back from the disco era, you know, Confessions on a Dance Floor, where she wore the leotard, where she cracked a smile once in a while, I'd like to interview then.
And I heard somewhere along the way that you were a big Angela Lansbury fan.
Oh, God, yes. And she's still going, isn't she?
You know, I had the great joy of interviewing her at her home. I wish she was on your couch. She is the most divine woman in all of the world. Please, you must try and find her and have a chatty man moment with Angela Lansbury.
Oh, I mean, that's another thing, you know, and, you know, you talk about me growing up. I mean, you know, when I came out, you know, and this is what I was saying to someone about coming out, you see, and people go, oh, Alan, you were never in like that. But it is so important to come out just for your own mental health and good to say I'm out. And I know I was the campiest person in Northampton, but it does make me laugh. I mean, my dad trying to get me out to kick about, and I'm watching Murder, She Wrote. I'm talking to everyone about Prisoner Cell Blockade. I mean, it can't have been a big shock. I mean, Murder, She Wrote. I mean, I know all of them. I mean, yeah, and Aunt Jess and all that. But I just think she's absolutely brilliant. I mean, and I know we talk about Murder, She Wrote, but what about some of those early ones she did? You know, the Portrait of Dorian Gray, where she's singing and Fanny by Gaslight. Craig, can I tell you that I'm probably going off a bit, piece. People might not want to know about this, but I am sort of fascinated by. But you know that Netflix thing that was a bit so about Hollywood. You know, it showed the golden age of Hollywood.
Yes,
and there was all, you know, at that director's party, some of the men partnered off, took their clothes off and went in the pool. And there was saying, did that really happen? Now, Angela Lansbury is probably the only woman left who went to those parties. Did you read that interview where she said, you know, we never saw any nudity there, but when I went home, I don't really know what happened. But to think that she was around that golden age of Hollywood at those parties that Netflix now are showing and doing pictures. It's amazing, isn't it?
Absolutely. She's one of the only great old stars from the 30s and 40s and so forth that is still with us. I think she's 94 or 95. She's got a marble. She's absolutely fabulous. Speaking of absolute greats, Alan Carr, Roseanne Barr. Now, you supported her in the UK, and I hear she's one of your favorite people.
Oh my God. Oh, what a miserable cow. Oh, I don't know. I don't know what, I don't know. It's just like, because I go there and they go, oh, Miss Barr, you don't touch her, or, you know, as if I'm going to touch her. Don't touch her. Don't talk to her unless she talks to you. And she does not shake hands. So I thought, well, God, I didn't know whether I was tempted to just slip the tongue in. But yeah, she was all right and all that. But I mean, it's just, it was just an odd, but there's not, she just, you know when people talk about her now that she's quite mean.
Yes.
And I sort of got that back then. I was a big Roseanne Barr fan, and I just felt she was a bit off with me and a bit, I mean, I ain't got specifics, but you know, I'm terrified. I've only been doing comedy for 2 years, and she's a bit, you know, I don't know. I feel like I'm being mean, but she could have been a bit nicer, you know. We're all in this business together. We're all trying to.
Oh, I agree, Alan, and I've had a similar experience with her, so I completely concur. But the other thing that maybe not a lot of people know is she reads everything, including "Hello, I'm Roseanne Barr" off an auto cue. Did you know that?
She does. Oh my God. We did this thing in Leicester. Now, she did one night in Leicester. And I said, why are you doing Leicester? She thought it was next door to Leicester Square, which is in the centre of London. So she's in Leicester, which is like an hour and a half up in this, you know, lovely theatre and all that. But I was watching her from the back of the stage. She's got, hello, Leicester. Are you having a good time? On the auto cue. I mean, talk about let it come from the heart. Really? And you know what, as well, this is really petty, and people are just going to think, oh, Alan, you're being petty now. But I came off stage and I wanted a glass of red wine, and there was a bottle of red, which maybe she'd put in the thing. Thank you very much, Roseanne Barr. And I went and said, oh, you haven't got a corkscrew, have you? There was a corkscrew on the table. I looked at it, she looked at it, and they went, no. I know it's the most boring showbiz story you've ever heard, but I was like, I can see that. How mean is that?
You think about your life on telly now, judging RuPaul's Drag Race, hosting Interior Design Masters. Now, I believe you are a dab hand at plumping cushions. Is that right?
The secret's out, yes. I can't put a shelf up. I can't do any units, but I can plump in the chop. The chop, yeah. I can light a Joe Malone candle. I can squirt a room spray. That's it.
You know what? We're very excited here in Australia because you are heading our way very soon. Well, when I say very soon, November, December this year. I love the name of your show, Regional Trinket, as opposed to National Treasure. It's just divine.
I know. Do you know what? You must be the same. There's so many people now who are called national treasures, and you're like, really? Really? So I thought, oh, I'm gonna, Maya, I'm always like dragging myself down and that, so I thought I'm gonna call myself a regional trinket, and I am, because that's me. Very simple, don't like to make a fuss, and in my show is about exploring the simpler things in my life. Like I said, going through a divorce, a bit of reassessment during COVID, looking at yourself. Yeah, it's enjoying the smaller things in life.
And Alan, serious for a moment, it is quite a personal show, isn't it? You've really kind of opened yourself up and let basically it all hang out.
Yeah. I wrote the show, like I said, it was all about the wedding and Adele marrying us, being all in love. He's a farmer. We live in this farm in Kent, like that. And then our marriage broke down during COVID. And then when I came out of COVID and all the tour dates got put back on, I looked at my material and I was like, oh, this doesn't make sense. And there'd been a bit in the paper about Paul and everything. So I couldn't lie. And I don't lying. I don't like lying. So I was really honest. I've got no filter. So I sort of, once I've written a show, I like to just write it and then go and perform it. So I was writing it on the hoof. And you know what? It's a better show for it. It's raw, it's honest. I'm not lying. This is how I feel. And listen, I'm one of those people, when life gives you lemons, you make lemonade, don't you? And you know what? Comedy is misery plus timing. And it's been one of those weird years for me. Professionally, it has been absolutely amazing. It's been did the Royal Variety Performance, everything gets recommissioned, RuPaul's Drag Race, which I adore. But personally, it's just been a bit rubbish. And it's one of those weird years you get,
What about for you next? So we've got the tour, that's November, December, and the dates will be up on the screen too, by the way.
That's wonderful. That's perfect.
But what about for you? I mean, you've written 2 fabulous books, another book maybe, another TV chat show. What about Alan Carr, the movie?
Well, listen, Alan Carr, the movie, is a little bit far-fetched, but Alan Carr, the sitcom, I can't really say, but I'm halfway through that. We have got the most amazing little Alan. We auditioned 400 little boys, and they came forward. I mean, some of them were basically insulting. It was like a whole day of, hello, I'm Alan Carr. So that's exciting. So that's a little exclusive for you. That's what I'll be working on. We've got someone's very, very interested in it.
Fabulous.
And I'd love it to come to Australia. So I think we'll be filming that, getting on with that. And it's so funny, asking about my dad and stuff, and the memories are there in the front of my mind because I'm just reminiscing. And isn't it funny, like, my dad and all that, we didn't get along at times, but now he's my biggest fan. And it's weird. I think everyone should really write a sitcom about when they're younger, because you do look at things and you sort of, when my dad was moaning and shouting on a Friday night, it's because he was stressed about the big game the next day. Like sometimes before I go on stage, I need me time. And, it hasn't happened in a long time, but, I've done in the early days, people booing, shouting abuse. My dad got that when he was in the dugout. But then when they went and got promoted, I got a cheer and I get a cheer. It's so weird. I'm having it's good for comedy. I'm having a lot of reassessing what do I want in my life and stuff. But sitcom first and then some time off, I think.
You are an absolute treasure. or a regional trinket, as you preferred to be known as, not a national or even an international treasure. I remember that Elizabeth Taylor once said, I don't want to be known as a national treasure or some kind of legend because it's the kind of things that pigeons poop on.
That's perfect. Isn't that perfect?
I can't wait for you to be in Australia.
And listen, I'm not one of those celebrities that then, you know, when you ring up the hotel and say, are we having that wine? I'm like, Craig, who? Please call me, because I will be by myself. I need some good company. I need some wine. And listen, let's catch up and do this all. And we can talk about Roseanne Barr in private.
Oh, I can't wait. Well, look, here is to you. Happy birthday. And we look forward to welcoming you to Australia. And I promise you, I'll gather together a little party, Maggie Kirkpatrick, Val Lehman, and you will be in prisoner Nirvana.
Okay, well, I'll bring my vinegar tits and we're laughing.
You've been a joy. Thank you, Alan Carr.
Thank you, Craig. Thank you so much.